Hey guys, good morning and welcome. I'm Stuart. I'm VP for International Sales and Marketing here at Netready. We're joined here on a beautiful Tuesday morning by my guest speaker, Mr. Richard Sletcher. Richard, how are you going?
Yeah, very good, thanks. How are you doing, Stuart?
I'm very well, thank you. To the guys joining us on Facebook Live, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for dedicating your time, and anyone watching the recording, thank you so much. I hope this session that we're going to have today is informative and helps you guide you through your business. What we're going to be chatting about today? Well, we're going to be talking about the eventing strategies to help launch and grow your business. Very exciting part about multi-level marketing and what makes it very different to that of the retail and e-commerce space. And we're going to dive straight into that with my guest speaker, Mr. Richard Sletcher. So Richard, why are events so important within the multi-level marketing space?
Well, look, I mean, this is a people business. And the key thing to remember, well, there's a couple of different kinds of events you have. So
Sure.
you have launch events, you have...
Which we'll get into your list, yes.
You got different kinds of events during the year. But the key thing to bear in mind is that the average person is involved in a multi-level marketing business all on their own. They're sitting in this little bubble. They've got their products, they're talking to their friends, you know, maybe they're getting emails from the company, they go to the company's website, but, you know, maybe they're interacting on Facebook or whatever, but intrinsically they're in this little bubble.
Yeah.
And it's them and their clients, and they see Mrs. Smith, and Mrs. Smith buys an item and Mrs. Jones doesn't. And so what you want to do is you want to, at least 3 times a year, you want to bring everybody together so that they can see that they're part of something amazing. And that gives them that confidence to carry on for another 3 months. So when our sort of suggestion or recommendation is to do these events every 4 months.
Right.
So in the Southern Hemisphere, for example, we would do them in January, May, and September. So that kind of breaks the year up very nicely. January is your big gala evenings, and then May and September, your national conventions.
Right, yeah.
And that just gives everybody a chance to come together and to see that there are actually thousands of other people involved in this business with them, that they're not alone, that they're part of something massive, that this business is growing and it's going. I was at an event a couple of years ago for Amway.
Yes.
And in South Africa, which is a tiny market, I mean, it's a minuscule market compared to global markets. And we were up in Johannesburg, and I was blown away. I walked into the room, it's 12,000 people there. 12,000 people in Johannesburg.
Yeah.
You realize that when you're sitting and talking to people about the eSpring or any of the artistry or any of their product ranges in their home, at that moment you realize that this is a big, serious business. And so that actually changes your whole perspective. And it gives you that impetus to go on for another 3 months, because you realize that people are building big teams. People are making real inroads. People are earning huge money. You know, I remember sitting there and they were giving away gold watches, and they were giving away motor cars, and they were giving away motorbikes and all sorts of crazy stuff. And the top leadership were doing speeches and talks from the stage. And I sat there thinking, wow, how cool must this be?
Wow.
You know, now obviously I joined these companies not to trade in Amway or to trade in Herbalife or whatever. I joined them because I really want to know what's going on in the industry. But even I, who've been in the industry, I've been doing this for over 30 years, even I walk into a room like this and realize just how massive this business is. Now, even if your business is not big, even if it's tiny, maybe you've got 200 people, the impact of having those 200 people in a room, and for everybody to see that there's somebody else involved in this, there's somebody else pushing this business, is very powerful. And it's something that a lot of companies completely ignore. Or when they do it, it's a half-hearted thing. And in my opinion, it's critically important.
Yeah. I mean, if we take an example of one of our clients, Umgalelo, I mean, these guys, we saw this event happen the other day where and this is one of the events we want to talk about, is incentives. They've got this incredible incentive where they're sending 3,500 people on a ship, on a cruise from Durban, our port in South Africa, to the Portuguese islands and back.
Yeah.
What a beautiful incentive. And they held this event. And you mentioned a key word there, was the sense of community. These guys, in South Africa, we've got this incredible culture of sense of belonging. And when these guys came into a room together, it was just electric.
Well, you witnessed it. So, I mean, how did you feel about it?
No, it was immense. I mean, if I'm coming from a traditional retail background and an e-commerce, and it is so foreign to see something like that happen. But to me, it made sense when I saw it happen. And I went, wow, this is something that is inspiring a single person and bringing a group together to become a single unit.
Exactly.
And now going through those 3 months leading up to that event, maybe I would have been a bit despondent. I'm going out there and I'm grinding and I'm working hard every single day. I think I'm alone. But when those events happen, I come together and I have a celebration as my community. It's beautiful.
And you saw they recognized some of their top performers. And it's not just the top performer who got excited about it.
Yes.
Because that top performer walked up onto stage. Everybody in that top performer's team, because remember, most of the top performers have got teams, felt amazingly proud that their leader was up on stage.
Wow.
Every one of those people felt, wow, I could be up there as well. And then the person was feeling excited because they were up on the stage getting recognized. But that actually went down onto their team because they stood on the stage and said to their team, I wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for you. So they pushed the recognition down onto their team. So that created such a sense of community. I mean, you saw how the people got up and they were dancing and they were whistling and singing. I mean, it was epic.
Yeah.
And that is that sense of community that gets created with these big meetings. You know, so I mean, you witnessed it. So I mean, you know firsthand.
Spectacular, and I can see why this is such a big part of launching and growing your business through the different phases of your business. I mean, you have to be adopting these types of events throughout the calendar year in which to inspire a network.
And understand that most companies, now Umgalelo is quite big. They've got over 70,000 people in their team, but most companies have around 30,000 people. Okay. But 30,000 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, if you get 10% of those people into a room, suddenly you got 3,000 people in a room.
Yeah.
You can have an epic event.
Yeah.
If you take some of the big companies, though, the Amways and these guys, in the UK they'll book out the O2.
Yeah.
And they'll push 100,000 people into those rooms. You know, they'll have massive amounts of people at their events.
Live acts, big performers, comedians, big MCs. I mean, it's a whole entertainment. You're hosting
the whole
an event.
evening. Now, Umgalelo is a prime example. They had some of the top musicians in the country on that stage.
Yeah.
They had one of the top DJs doing their compere work.
Yeah.
You know, now that costs money. I mean, that's not cheap. But what an epic impact it had on the people there, because now suddenly you walk into a room and this company is big enough to hire the top musicians. These are guys that they sing along to, they listen. I mean, this guy does his music, he does his song, and the entire audience is singing to the song because they all know the words. It's like one of the top hit songs in the country.
Yeah.
Now, the same thing happens overseas. You know, a little while ago, I saw that Amway had, what's her name? Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
As their spokesperson.
Wow.
So, you know, when you start seeing that and you're an individual person within this business, and you see that this business has got enough clout to get a person like Sandra Bullock to be their spokesperson, then you know that you're part of something great. Now, obviously, not every company can afford a Sandra Bullock, but certainly every company can afford to put on a show that makes everybody feel like they belong to something bigger than themselves. You know?
These events are certainly helping you launch and grow your business, and there's strategies involved in each of those events, and the framework of those events, it differs per event.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about launching the business. So what events would be focusing on to get this business out of the blocks, injecting adrenaline into the network, getting people excited and building the sense of community? What are those events that we should be focusing on?
Well, I'm going to just, I know this is bad form, but I'm going to use 2 four-letter words. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I need to apologize to everybody out there that I'm going to use these 2 four-letter. Yeah, they're really, really bad. Hard work.
Oh.
Those are disgusting words, I know.
Say it.
Should never, ever be used in front of ladies. But bottom line is that part of launching your business, and what people don't realize is there's this hard work element.
Right.
Because you're going to run these events, but those events absolutely have to run smooth as glass, and you've got to have the people at the events. And there's no easy way to do it because there's resistance out there. You know, the guy's, he's got 1,000 things sort of trying to get his attention.
Yeah.
And so you, as the owner of the company or as the sort of the leadership within the organization, have got to get the people to the event. Okay, so the first thing is that's hard work.
Yeah.
Now, what we recommend in a launch strategy is that you have 4 launch events. The most powerful thing that you've got in your arsenal is the launch. You only ever launch once, and if you do it right, it's explosive.
Yeah.
But you got to get the people to the event. So we normally run 4 events. The first event is a founding member event.
Right.
This is for the people who you personally know. They are influencers. They are people in your sphere of influence. They are existing customers. There are people who've been selling your products up until now, whatever. These are people you know. And at the founding member event, the whole idea is to get yourself to 100 founding members. Now, that can be done in 2 phases. You could have a situation where you are signing people up before the founding member event, saying, listen, you're my friend. I want to get you in first. You get them in. You take some money from them. You commit them. But everything after that is training that person how to get 5 people to that founding member event. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to cater for 100 people and only have 40 people in the room. That's a disaster.
Yeah.
So what you want to be doing is you want to say, okay, I'm expecting 100 people.
Yep.
I cater for 50. Because the impression you want to get is that we've got more people than we expected, not less.
Right.
We expected 100, we only get 50. The room's half empty.
Yeah.
It's a disaster.
Yeah.
Expected 50, got 100. That's fantastic because now people are fighting over each other. We're pulling chairs in to help them. It creates a completely different vibe. You with me? People are sitting outside in the breakout rooms because they can't get into the main auditorium because it's full.
Yeah. The overflow rooms.
The overflow rooms, yeah. So the bottom line is that in terms of the launches, what you're trying to do is get momentum. So the first launch,
Quick tip there. Even though we're bringing in our best friend because we want him into the network, this guy has to still be a hard worker. He needs to have the area of influence. He needs to have his network. You can't just stick him in there because you want to help him out. It's not going to help out the rest of your network.
And when you're bringing him in, you're telling him, listen, we're putting you at the top of the network. So the whole world is going to be under you. As we grow this business nationally and internationally, everybody's going to come under you. So we're putting you in early, but we expect you're going to have 5 people at the founding member launch. We expect that you're going to learn how the systems work. We expect you're going to learn about the product. We expect you to be at the training. You're one of our founding members. You're at the top of the cherry tree. We might give you a special rank. A lot of companies don't, but we might make you top rank or whatever. But we don't just give that away for nothing. There's an expectation in return for that. So what you want at the founding members, let's say you manage to sign up 20 people. Now, to be quite honest with you, I roll up my sleeves. I can sign up 20 or 30 people by myself within a couple of weeks.
Sure.
Just go and see all my friends, knock on doors, see customers of mine, tell them about this epic opportunity we've got, get them there. Now, if all 30 of those people are committed to bringing 5 people, and let's say we have a 50% close ratio, then you've got 90 people in the room. The 30 plus another 60. If you cater for 50, now suddenly there's 40 people who can't get in. You're creating a whole vibe. Obviously, the people who are already in give up their seats to the people who are not already in. People who are in, they go and stand outside. People who are not in, go into the room. And the idea there is you pitch them. Now, you have got to have trained your people before that founding member launch, because if they brought 2 people, you cannot close everybody in that room by yourself. So they need to be trained that afterwards to come in and actually close those deals, get the person signed up. So generally, you call that the founding member launch. You make an incredible offer. You say, hey, guys, once in a lifetime offer. for those people who are signing up tonight, this is a founding member deal. You're going to get this rank. We're going to give you this product. We're going to give you this recognition, put you on our website. We're going to make you the top of the network, blah, 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 blah. So there's this whole plethora of offers you're giving at that founding member launch. Now, the more people you've got up front, the more people you can have at the launch. And we always say that you can't actually go forward. If you don't have more than 100 people in your founding member team, you can't launch the business.
Right. Okay.
Because you don't get enough momentum. So after the founding member launch, you need to count the people in your team. If you've got 90, then you need to find another 10. And not you, you and your founding members together. So this is where the hard work goes on, because you as the company owner need to be going out with these guys, sitting with their friends, doing home meetings, going into coffee shops and meeting with mates, pitching the product. You need to be able to pitch it to them, and you need to be training them on how to do it. So I do it, you watch, we do it together, you do it, I watch, you do it. So we are then out there, and once we get to the 100 founding member mark, 100 committed founding members, and you know who's not committed. If you've got 10 guys doing nothing, then you don't have 100 founding members.
Sure.
So you need 100 committed founding members. At that point, you schedule your pre-launch. Because remember, you want to have multiple bites of the cherry. We haven't launched the business yet, guys. What we're wanting to do is make sure all our systems are working. We're going to make you the offer of a lifetime to be the next part, next phase of our launch strategy. We're going to give you all of these cool things. We're going to make you the top of the network, give you special ranks, whatever it is. You then host the pre-launch. Okay. At the pre-launch, you're going to pitch the business. Same thing. You're expecting 200 people, you cater for 100. You don't want to, you never ever want to be in a room where you catered for 100 and only 50 pitch.
Right.
Because that sends a completely different message.
For sure.
You know? Even if you're expecting 100, that's fine, and you think you'll definitely have 100. Cater for 50. Make sure you got some chairs in the back you can bring in. Make sure you guys are prepared, that the guys who already signed up. Listen, guys, if somebody comes and they need a seat, you need to vacate so that they can sit in the room. You know, you prepare them. So now you do your pre-launch. You got 100 people. You say to them, listen, the deal here is you have to have 5 people at the pre-launch. And you train them to do that. You have to teach them who to bring, etc. So now you do your pre-launch. So you got 100 people, each bring 5. Let's say we only get 2 each. So you got 300 people in the room. Off we go. The next, and maybe you don't sign up everybody. If you don't sign up everybody, you need to look at what's going on with your pitch.
Right.
But the next phase, of course, is you'll do, if you manage to get some momentum here, you schedule a soft launch. You test all your systems, you make sure everybody's happy that it's all working. Soft launch, everybody's trained to bring 5 people. And then, of course, you do a couple of weeks later hard launch. And each one of these launches is geared to getting momentum, getting your business off the ground. But in between those launches, there's those 2 4-letter words. You guys are working extremely hard. So you're working your backside off. You're out every night in the field. Every day you're doing opportunity meetings. Every weekend you're doing opportunity meetings. You're talking to the guys. You're training them. You're motivating them. You're making sure they're fired up. And then you do the next launch. And so you just create this momentum. And so that's what I normally do with the launch strategy. We normally have 4 of them: founding member, pre-launch, soft launch, hard launch. By the end of the hard launch, if you've done it right, you should be on your way to having around 10,000 active members.
Right. And in terms of when
sorry, excuse me.
When signing on these members at each of the launches, education is a big part of this. So do we have training sessions that we host groups of people to educate them on the key? We know the key elements. We talk about the product itself. We educate our people, and this training session usually happens the week following that launch event. Okay, so let's give an example. The founding member launch event happens on a Monday evening. We sign up 200 people into the network, or 100 people. We then bring those people into the room, and we train them on every aspect of the business. But the key aspects here are the product. We speak about the product and everything involved in this product. How to sell the products. We do a video where people watch.
Yes.
We then have a Q&A session
Yes.
post, and then we have role play.
Exactly right.
And this happens with those 3 key elements. So we focus on the product, the compensation plan, and then how to invite 5, 6 people to the next launch event, which happens 10 days later.
There's one other thing that, and I keep on forgetting to mention it. The other thing is systems.
Yes.
You need to know how to sign somebody up. You need to know how to look at your downline. You need to know how to see what commissions you've earned. And those are all on the IT system. And so what you want to be doing is during that training session, you want to get everybody to log onto the system, to go through the process of purchasing an item, to go through the process of looking at their commissions, their downline, all of that kind of stuff, because you want them to understand how that works. And you can get them to do it on their cell phone, or they can have a laptop, or you can do it from the stage. But bottom line, that would also be necessary to learn the systems.
Yeah.
So it's, as you said, it's the products, it's the compensation plan, it's the systems, and then the key thing during this launch phase, how to get people to the meetings.
Right.
And that's everything. Because if you don't get people to the meetings, your business stagnates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of your focus then, once you've done product systems and compensation plan, it's all about that. All about getting those 5 people to the meeting.
Okay. In terms of the events itself, I know not letting the cat out the bag, but next week we want to speak about the presentations and structuring those presentations.
Yes.
What is said. Now, do all of these events need to be held together by a presentation?
Yeah, look, I think so. I think that the key thing here with these events is that when somebody sits in there, they must be highly structured. You must have rehearsed it to the nth degree.
Right.
It must just flow. If you're having to look at the teleprompter or the comfort monitor and then work out what you've got to say next, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
You need to be at a place where you know exactly what you're saying, when you're saying it, how you're saying it, and why you're saying it, and that you've tested it 100 times on people around you to see if it's effective. Because there might be things that are jarring. You know, when you're putting the presentation together, you think, well, that will work. And then you get into a real-world environment and you find yourself wanting to skip the slide because the messaging is not working. Well, you don't want to find that out on the night of a big launch.
No.
You want to find that out when you do it with somebody in a coffee shop. You know, so you must have done that pitch at least 10 or 20 times and be happy with it before you get onto that evening. So yeah, I think that a structured evening is critically important. You can't do it off the cuff, no.
Yeah, sure.
You like that?
I like that a lot. That was really good. And then Richard, in terms of bringing the people to the venue, there's a number of ways in which you can do it. So you mentioned it earlier, we can go through influencers, existing databases, inner circle networks, to be able to get those people into a room. There's 1,000 companies out there fighting for someone's attention to get someone into a room, from becoming a lead within a system or someone that's marked interested on a live event, whether it's on Zoom or any other webinar platform, to move someone into venue. It's a tough ask.
Yeah.
So
it's not like a trade show.
Right.
You know, in a trade show, 10% of the people who actually come to the show register. So if you got 1,000 registered people, you can expect 10,000 people to come through the trade show.
Yeah.
And because there's fundamentally no risk, the person's interested in the subject, they think, yes, I really like fast motorboats, I'm going to go to the powerboat show, and off they go. They didn't register, but they'll rock up on the day and they'll go through it. With this, you have exactly the opposite. If 100 people register, you can count on 50 people pitching. So yes, it is extremely hard work, and that's why the training is so important. And little tips like I tell, one of my clients was, one of my downline members was having problem getting people to arrive at the meetings. So what I said to them, well, don't meet the person at the meeting, because if they think you're at the meeting and you're safe and you're comfortable and everything is going smoothly and according to the master plan, then if they don't pitch up, it's not a major train smash, because you're there, you're comfortable, you would have been in there anyway. So they don't phone you, they don't cancel, they just don't pitch. So I would say to them, look, choose a space that's safe, but that is highly inconvenient for you.
Right.
Like, it's raining, the wind is howling, picture the scene. You say to your sponsor, my wife is going to drop me off on the corner of 1st Avenue and 31st Street in such and such an area.
Yes.
Please pick me up on your way. Now your mate knows that you're sitting in the rain, in the wind, on your own, in the dark, waiting for him to pick you up. And if he doesn't pick you up, you sit there in the rain waiting. He's let you down big time. So once she started doing that,
everyone was picking up.
100% people pitch to the meeting. So the issue is also, you know, you've got to come up with ways and strategies to make sure that the people get to the meetings, and that's part of the training. You know, and there's a dozen books written out there. As a company owner, I highly recommend. I don't have the names off the top of my head here, but there's 100 books on getting people to meetings, making sure that people attend a meeting, etc. Both from non-MLM spaces, like in the sales environment, right the way through to MLM spaces, how to get your people to a meeting to sit down with you. Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick one for anyone watching on Facebook Live. If you've got any comments, please put them into the Facebook feed. We'll address them post this session. Okay, Richard, moving away from our launch events. Now, there's phases in this business. We want to launch the events and get it up to exponential growth. Then we move into the golden cycle, which is 120 days later. And this is the growth phase of our business. Now, let's talk about what events need to happen during that phase. And we're speaking about the Southern Hemisphere at the moment, where we work on January to December. What happens in January ahead of this beautiful new year that's coming up?
Well, generally, January in the Southern Hemisphere, January is your gala evening. So what normally happens on a gala evening is it's a whole weekend affair. So you start on Friday night. On Friday night, your top leadership, by invitation only, is called into a meeting with the top management of the company.
Yeah.
Where secrets are discussed. Okay? It's exclusive. The top leadership only come there, so it will be whatever your top ranks are, the diamonds and the crown ambassadors and those kind of guys. They get together on the Friday night, and there's a strategic discussion about how they're taking the business forward. They're a part of the inner circle, etc. Then on Saturday, you have training sessions most of Saturday, where you break it into 2 morning sessions, 2 afternoon sessions, and an evening session, where you'll train on products, you'll train on sales, you'll train on recruiting, you'll train on the compensation plan, etc. And people again are invited to that, but it's up to the leadership to choose or select their top people who come to that Saturday training. So not everybody gets to come to it. It's exclusive. On Sunday, generally, Sunday morning, nothing happens. Sunday late afternoon, you have your gala evening. So around about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, people start arriving for the gala evening. There's pre-evening drinks where people can gather around and chat, and there's sort of a half an hour, 45 minutes. You might have some entertainment there. And then at some point, the doors are opened and everybody goes into the gala room, and it's done up. Think like high-end wedding. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
There is, there's bunting up, and there's lighting, and the tables are all stick, and the chairs are all stick, and you're going to be serving food, so there's, all of your cutlery's out there, etc. There's a beautiful stage. Now, depending on the size of your company, that could be anything from 50 people to 3,000 people. It just depends on the size of your organization. And so the people come into that gala evening. Now, all of the people, are there by invitation. And the second thing is that all of them have paid to be there. So there's no free supper here. It costs them, $50, $100, whatever it is per person to be at that gala evening, but it is a very exclusive event. Top management is there because they're going to be talking. Top leadership is there because they're going to be talking. And that evening is there to highlight or to show off the company's size and their commitment to the business and the success, because unsuccessful businesses can't do that kind of stuff. It's only the successful companies that can have those kind of evenings. So your people arrive there, they have beautiful meal. Afterwards, they're going to have a dance, like they'll have either a band or a disco to dance to. There'll be lighting, and there'll be a big dance floor. And so the whole idea is that this is an event.
You've painted a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
I can see it. I'm actually very excited.
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
this happen now?
Exactly. So I don't know if you want to talk about the structure of that event.
Yes, no, let's do it. And what needs to be included in that event? So what are the key elements that we should be focusing on to make this typical gala evening happen and to create the outcome that we're looking for?
So again, it's a structure. So normally what we do is we break the meal up into sort of sections. So you'll have your starters, and so those will be served before the evening gets started. So everybody's drinks will be topped up, whatever that is. Some companies don't allow alcohol at all. Some companies will have wine or champagne or whatever.
Yep.
So the drinks are topped up, and they'll have starters. So that sort of warms the evening up. Generally, during that time period, you'll have some form of entertainment. On one of the gala evenings I went to, they had a phenomenal magician, but one of these sleight of hand magicians, who was literally walking around the tables doing magic for the people. And so it was a form of entertainment that got everybody involved, and it was quite incredible to see. This guy was amazing. So you would watch his hands, and the stuff would disappear in front of your face. So it was that kind of thing, and there was a lot of oohing and eyeing around the room as he went around and pulled coins out of people's ears and all sorts of stuff. So that kind of was the warm-up session. Straight after that, the MC came up, and the MC would do again a warm-up. Generally, you want a good MC who can get the audience laughing, can tell some jokes, and can get people kind of relaxed, because this whole evening is supposed to be about a celebration of the business. Okay? The MC will then introduce the top company, at this point, what you do is you do a breakdown of what's happened. The past year's been amazing. We had some incredible stuff. We brought out these new products. We did X amount of turnover. We've signed up this many people. It's a breakdown of how good the year is.
Is that done by the company owner? So the MCs introduce the company owner, or does the MC actually just
No, the MC introduces the company. Well, it's not necessarily the company owner. It's a key person in the company, because you might literally be sitting in London, but the owner of the company's in the States or wherever.
Yeah.
So there's a key person from the company who's doing the recap of what's happening, how this business has exploded, how awesome it is, how many amazing people we've got in it. You know, it's like a real celebration of this past year, of how incredibly we did. Okay. So they go through that talk, and he says, well, before we carry on with anything else in the evening, we're going to have our main meal. And so then there's music, main meal gets served. Might be some light entertainment, but generally there's music going and everybody's eating, because when people are eating, they don't focus. So the idea is that everybody's drinks get topped up. So by the time you get to the sort of the meat of the evening, everybody's had their starters. They've been well and truly warmed up. They've had their entertainment, have had a couple of drinks. Their tummies are full. And now you get to the sort of the main chunk of the evening. Now, during this section, you've got a couple of things you want to do. The first of all, you want to recognize your top performers. So this is where you're handing out your awards to your top guys. The person of purpose, the person who did the most social, was most socially active in terms of your social responsibility stuff. The top salespeople, the top recruiters, everybody who recruited more than 2 people. I mean, there's a whole talk we do on recognition.
Right.
So you recognize all the key players. You get them up onto stage. You have your top leadership, the guys who've really pumped it, to come up on stage and do a short talk, a motivational speech of some sorts. Okay? So the big first chunk of this is recognizing our star performers. And
you're not only recognizing the people on stage, as you said before, it's recognizing their teams.
Yes.
And that you're still building that community. So
Exactly.
you're re-injecting that sense of community into each one of these events. I love the strategy.
Imagine that you're my team leader and you get recognized. I feel fantastic because you're being recognized.
Yeah.
You then get up into the stage and you say, well, if it wasn't for Richard and Mary and
Yes,
Jane
yeah.
who helped me I wouldn't be
Yes,
sitting here.
yeah.
These are the guys that really deserve the recognition. So please give them a round of applause, and everybody claps for them.
Yeah.
So the recognition is flowing two ways, but recognition is a topic
Yes.
for another day. But
Yes.
so,
It's like the Oscars. Actually, the Oscars comes to mind.
exactly
I
right.
get up on stage, I accept my award, but I thank all the people that made me achieve.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. And obviously you need to prep your people. Otherwise you get somebody up there who spends 3 hours talking about their family and their
Right.
farm and their
Where
this
I
and
came
their
from,
that.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't want that, obviously. So you need to prep your people. And there needs to be a countdown. So they need to know they've got 30 seconds to go, and it needs to be counting down on the prompter. They need to know how much time they got. Counts down, 29, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, push off.
Yeah.
Not quite, but
Comes
you know
up.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first step, is recognition. The second step that you want to do is you want to play some videos and share with everybody the previous incentive. Now, if you haven't been on the previous incentive, if this is the first one, then you have to share what that incentive is, put up the video, etc. You're not going to announce the incentive winners just yet. You just bring it up to get everybody focused on, okay, we recognized everybody. Here's this cool incentive that's either this is what we did last time,
Yes.
so it's epic.
Yeah.
Then what you want to do is you want to launch your new products. So it's always a good idea to do that reveal, you know, the pulling the cloth off the car type
Yes.
reveal,
Yeah, the big unveil.
the big unveil, and you want to talk about the products. So you want a key person to come up and talk about the products and how amazing the products are. Okay? Once you've launched the products, you want to have some sort of special pack that you do the Oprah moment. You know
Yes.
how Oprah, she talks to everybody about a Kindle, and she says,
Yes.
and what's exciting is tonight everybody here gets a Kindle.
Yes, yeah.
And everybody
Yeah,
freaks
you
out.
get a Kindle. You get a Kindle.
Exactly.
You get a Kindle.
Exactly. So at that point, when you launch the new product range, however many people you've got in the room, you have a box with the new products in, free of charge, and everybody in that room gets
Walks
given
away with one.
X $100 or X $100 worth of product. Now remember, next time round, you're going to want people to come. They're going to see this because we're going to live stream this. They're going to see everybody in the room getting given, like, whatever the ticket cost. They're getting given more than that value in product.
Sure.
So now, next time, they're going to think, oh, excellent, I need to be there. So you dish out a whole lot of product to everybody, so everybody gets product. So
Yeah.
everybody, whatever you're launching, unless you sell Ferraris, of course, you can't give everybody a Ferrari. But you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
everybody gets the new product, and you hand them out, and everybody's cheering, clapping, and how exciting that is. So you've now recognized your people. You've shown the video of the last incentive. You've launched this cool new product and given everybody product. So you can imagine how pumped everybody's being at the moment. And now's the time to hand out the tickets for those people who won the incentive.
Beautiful. Wow.
Now, generally with your incentives, and we won't go into too much detail about that now, but with your incentives, you've got two things. You've got the people who won, so your top 20 people. And then you've got 20 people who didn't quite make it. Now, it could be like the top 3,000 people, whatever. But let's say it's the top 20 people and 20 people who didn't make it.
Okay.
Now what you do is you give away the tickets for the top 20 people. So you get them up. You've got a kit bag. There must be something physical that
Yeah.
they walk away with. So it's their beach towel and
Yes.
their
Their
whatever
little
you've
travel
got,
bag and-
their travel bag and their tickets.
Yes.
So off they go with their tickets. They go and sit down. Now you say, well, we've got something excellent that you're not aware of. The top 20 people who didn't make it, we're going to be doing a lucky draw for one more ticket. And you get the top 20 people up on the stage and you do a reverse lucky draw. In other words, everybody's number goes into the
Yes.
hat.
Yes.
And then for the first, if you got 20 people,
Yeah.
for the first 18 people, if the number comes out, they go and sit down.
Yeah.
So you pull out
Very
the
good.
fig and you read out the number, and one of the people there is like devastated
Yes.
because they've got to go and sit down. And everybody's crying and you're dishing out tissues. But it's obviously a vibe.
Yeah.
You pull out the next one, and as you're going down, you go from 20 to 19, until you get to the last two.
Yeah.
Now you can imagine the tension is building all the time. So you create a tremendous amount of excitement and everybody's screaming and shrieking. It's quite amazing how it happens.
Yeah.
And then you get down to the last two. Now, at this point, you need to be real careful.
Yeah.
You need to make sure they understand the rules of the game.
Right.
The next ticket that we pull out is the winner.
Yeah.
We clear. So if I pull out your number, you are the?
I'm the winner.
Yeah. So that if I don't pull out your number, you're the?
I'm the loser.
Exactly.
And I go sit down and
You
cry.
have to really specify it because you don't want to have any confusion at this point.
Right.
You don't want two people thinking they won because that's just going to. So I'm going to pull the winner's number out. So the number that I'm going to call out now is the winner.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Which one of you want to be the winner?
I would love to win.
Exactly right. So now I'm going to call its number. This is the winning number.
Yes.
And I could read it out. And then that's the winner.
Right.
So that person freaks out, gets all excited, you give them the ticket, but you've gone through 20 lucky draws here, so you're ramping up. As you're getting closer, there's people, the three people sitting on the stage,
Yeah.
you know, the 2, 3, you've seen this in American
Yes,
Idols
yeah.
and these things.
Yes, yes.
The last two people,
Yeah.
and then it's like all so excited. Up until the last two people, it was an elimination.
Yeah.
And now the last two people, one of them's the winner. And of course, you give out the winning ticket. And that person and their team go ballistic. So you've now gone through this whole evening where you've got up to the thing. Now we're going to have pudding. And then your guys are going to toast the evening out. So thank you very much. What's going to happen now is we're going to be opening the dance floor. You guys can have an absolutely epic time. We've got this amazing band here or this amazing whatever to entertain you. Thank you so much for coming. And then it's just a party. And for the next hour or 2 hours, everybody's dancing, and obviously the evening will draw to a close, and everybody goes home.
Yeah.
So that whole thing is like a family event. You've recognized people, you've given away holidays, in the recognition, you might have put out massive 10,000 Rand or $10,000 checks, or the one place we went to, they were giving away Rolex watches, they were giving away Harley Davidson motorcycles, they gave away a 500 SL Mercedes-Benz, that just created such vibe. So
Yeah.
you go through this process. Now, you don't have to do it exactly like that.
Sure.
But the issue is it's got to be structured. There's got to be strategy behind it. You don't want to be shooting from the hip in this thing. It must be organized.
Yeah.
And when we do these events, we've got Haley, who sits with headphones on, directing the hell out of everybody.
Yeah.
You do this, do that. Please bring up that camera. Please bring up that camera. We're live streaming this whole thing to the world. It becomes quite an event, and it's orchestrated down to the nth degree.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. We can't just shoot from that. There needs to be structure involved in this. Let's play into Richard. You built a beautiful story there. I mean, I was so encapsulated by everything you're saying. I was picturing myself in my tux, and I was sitting at the table, and I was.
Oh, that's another thing. Formal dress.
Every time.
The guys come to a gala evening, formal attire.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a tuxedo.
Yeah.
But it's like wedding dress. You wouldn't come there with jeans and tackies.
Yeah.
You come there with proper clothing, and you've got your jacket. If you're a man, it's a suit and jacket. If you're a woman, you dress in evening gown.
Okay.
You come there looking good.
Yeah. And times of the evening. So would you start something like this when 7 o'clock in the evening, and then go through up until 11 o'clock?
Well, the guys start arriving at 5. You would let them into the room at 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So everybody would sit down by 6:30. You've got your starters coming out and your entertainment happening. Okay. That normally takes about a half an hour. So by 7 p.m., you've got your guys on the stage. You'll compare, warming the guys up, telling some jokes, getting everybody fired up. And then the evening starts.
Okay.
So you're into the thick of things by about 7:30.
Okay.
And normally the whole process will take about an hour, maybe if you're really slow, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So you're in there sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock is when the sweets or the pudding is served, and then from sort of 9:30 on, the dance floor is open and everybody's having a good time.
Okay. So let's talk about the incentives, the competition, and what events follow a gala evening. So what we've done is we've announced this incentive that's coming up for the year to come. And how often do we host events throughout the year, just purely based on those incentives?
Well, there's a lot of events that get hosted, okay, but let's talk about core events, okay? You'll have a national convention about 4 months after the gala evening, and another one 4 months later. So generally in the Southern Hemisphere, we'll have a January gala, May we'll have a national convention, and September we'll have a national convention, okay? So those three things, they're not as aggressive as the gala evening. So normally in these national conventions, you're sitting in cinema style seating. You will have some place to buy food. You'll have some place to buy something to drink, but you're coming to those things and you sit down, and normally it's a full day. You start in the morning, there's training, etc. You might have training for your top leadership the day before, so you might have a Friday night deal where you train your top leadership, and then a full Saturday thing where you've got all of your people coming. And it's, as I say, cinema style. You maybe start at like 12 o'clock and you go through to maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. And it's training, it's launching new products, it's announcing the winners of this section of the incentive, it's reminding them that the incentive is going to be carrying on for another 3 months, blah, blah, blah. Those are all the things, and you will play a video of the last incentive. And recognition's a big thing here. You know, you'll do things like, with the recognition, you'll do things like, could I have everybody who has signed up, 2 people, in a single calendar month since we last met, please come down and walk across the stage. And so you'll have 30, 40, 50 people all go down, walk across the stage, everybody gives them a round of applause.
Amazing. What recognition that
exactly.
is. Wow.
And then you'll say, okay, everybody who's signed up 4 people in any calendar month in the last 3 months, come down, walk across the stage. And everybody now stand up. I want you to give them a standing ovation. And so that costs the company nothing. These people walk across the stage, they get a standing ovation. How many people in their whole lives get a standing ovation?
That's right, yeah.
So they walk across the stage, they're getting standing ovation. Costs the company nothing. They're recognizing the tail off of those people. And they'll do other recognitions. They'll give away big checks if they are to be given away. People who've hit top ranks will be brought onto the stage and recognized, etc. Obviously, there's a lot of training on those weekend seminars and those national conventions. A lot of training focus. You'll launch new products at that point, and you'll do training around the products. You'll launch, you'll remind them about the incentive and what needs to happen and the rules around it. All of that kind of stuff happens in those meetings. And again, they're structured.
Right, yeah.
They're completely structured.
Yeah.
Not as intense as the gala evening, but just as structured.
Okay. Well, let's focus on the golden thread of those events, which is this incentive. So if we're going to be having these events every 4 months, so we start off Southern Hemisphere in January.
Yes.
We announce this incentive. We then have our May events, where we announce the winners of
the first period.
First period. Then we have our September events, where we announce the winners of that period. And then we have our gala evening the following January, to announce
where we give out the tickets.
So
you've got the winners for the January, the May, and the September pushers.
Yes.
Are all given their tickets and their bags and everything there.
Brilliant.
And they will go away early May. In the Southern Hemisphere, that's shoulder season. The weather's good enough that you're not having a problem with the weather.
Right.
But you're still on the shoulder season, so it's not costing you an arm and a leg. You don't want to go in the middle of peak season because you can't get the hotels, you can't get the rooms. It costs you a living fortune. So you want to go shoulder season, outside of school holidays, etc., and off you go. So you then have a video crew with you in the May season. When you come back at the end of May and you have your national convention towards the end of May, you can now show the videos of all those people who went away on the first incentive.
I can see it happening.
Yeah, and the people go wild. I mean,
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. Richard, I love this discussion. I think we've highlighted the points of the event strategies for the launch and the growth periods of our business, and how important it is within the multi-level marketing space compared to that, and we always do that of e-commerce retail. My wife always tells me, Stu, it's time to land the plane when I start waffling on. So we're going
Is
to
that
land
what she says to you? I must remember that one.
land the plane, Stu. Come on. So this is what we're about to do. We're going to land this plane on this this epic discussion that we've had on eventing strategies. So Richard, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate
pleasure.
you being a week on week.
Oh, no, it's an absolute pleasure.
Okay.
Enjoyed it.
Lovely stuff. To everyone out there joining us on Facebook Live, thanks for dedicating your time. If anyone's watching the recording, thank you for your time. I hope this content was interesting and has guided you through a lot of the eventing strategies that you need to be focusing on through the phases of your business. Please follow us on our YouTube channel, which is Netready. Hit the button to subscribe and as well as get notifications each time we load new content onto our platform. We've also got our Facebook and our LinkedIn channels, as well as Spotify, all of the podcasts. Sit in your cars, listen to the voiceovers, and get some more information on this amazing industry that we find ourselves within. Guys, thanks so much for joining. From me, Stuart, I appreciate your time. Cheers.